On today's podcast episode, we're going to wrestle through the question, how do we balance rest and productivity when both seem spiritually necessary? Because honestly, they seem on the surface to contradict each other, right?
Yes.
Resting and productivity don't seem like the same thing. So how do you have both?
That's true. And we live in a culture. We live in a culture that tends, I think this is still true. Our culture shifts a little bit. I think it's still true. Our culture tends to elevate productivity over rest, right? This is why we have people that work a bajillion hours. We celebrate people that get a lot of things done. We give awards to people that serve for a long time. Productivity is valued in our culture, where rest sometimes gets a bad rap of being lazy or you're slacking off. Or actually, just yesterday, I texted one of my buddies. I have a group that gets together. There's a ministry called renew.org. I lead some things for them, and our next little thing is in August coming up. And I texted all the guys that are part of it, and one of them said, "I won't make it. I'm on vacation." And I texted back to him, and I was like, "Oh, enjoy being lazy while the rest of us are slaving away." Right? We do that. We elevate one over the other. And but Jesus, John 15, he says, "You have to remain in me, or abide in me. If you abide or remain in me, you can bear much fruit or be productive. If you don't, you'll bear nothing. You'll be not productive at all." And so the two really go together. They are the two sides of the same coin, right? And to have a balanced coin, you got to have both sides. You have to do work, but to do work, you have to rest. But to make rest not be laziness, you have to do work. You have to back and forth do these things. And so we rest in Jesus. We listen to him. We hang out in his word. We talk to him in prayer. We gather with the believers to worship. We renew our spirits in him. And then we walk out the door to work like we've never worked before, telling people about who he is, serving, doing these things here. But then we come back to rest again. And then back to this. And ideally, we show maybe a daily rhythm of that, a weekly rhythm, monthly, yearly, kind of rhythms that we go through. Actually, when I was younger, I'm just talking a lot. When I was younger, I worked a lot. I still work a lot, but I worked a whole stinking lot, to the expense of my family. I wasn't home a lot. I had a young son. We had some young foster children in our home too, and finally one day I had a mentor kind of just grab my shoulders and shake me a little bit, and I realized I was not being productive because I wasn't resting. And so I changed my hours from the many huge number I was working down to closer to 45 or so a week. And what I found was I was more productive when I rested than when I didn't rest.
Yeah. I think we do struggle with that, though. So, like, in our culture, like, I'm a very driven person. I think it's also personality based too, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm a very driven person, so I just want to keep, even on days off, I want to keep working. I'm just wired to work and to produce things. But I'm reminded of Psalm 1. So in Psalm 1, David, the psalmist, writes about how the person of the Lord is like a tree planted by streams of water who produces fruit in season. And what I think about that abiding in Jesus thing is that a tree is always working. The work just looks different. Sometimes a tree is resting to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So a fruit tree, there's seasons it does not produce, because if it produced 12 months of the year, you would not have good fruit. You need seasons of time where you're working on the inside, where a tree is spending the winter seasons making itself better, so that way outwardly can go produce as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's very true. And rest looks different for different people as well, like you're saying, right? So I don't sit well. Like I just don't. I get antsy, and I start just to feel weird. So I find myself resting by doing different things. The work week, I work at my desk and I work with my mind, and I type and I talk and all week long. Well, then I find that on my days off, on my time off, I work in my garage, I work in my yard, or I do things with my hands, which actually is restful for me.
Yeah.
And so it looks different to different people, and but however it looks for you, you need a rhythm of resting in the Lord and then working with the Lord.
Yeah. If you have more questions, we'd love for you to send them in. We'd love to continue to answer them for you. But church, until we see each other again, you are sent. Have a great day.